Nip Hussle, aka Go Get It, at the speed of a marathon, taking his time, going down the line. Look, remind me so much of you.
Yeah.
But he different. I'm like, he don't remind me of me. He different than me. I was on board. We ended up making a brotherhood. We ended up creating a bond.
Snoop Dogg under fire? A father, a businessman, and the brother of Nipsey Hussle, Blacc Sam, has been calling out rappers he believes aren't staying true to Nipsey's legacy. And shockingly, Snoop might be one of them. From stretching the truth in stories to hanging with Big U, the man many accused of being connected to Nipsey's death, Snoop's actions are raising serious eyebrows. For someone who says it's all love with Nip, his behavior is telling a whole different story. And trust me, Blacc Sam is not letting that slide. Blacc Sam, born Samuel Asghedom, was never just Nipsey's big brother. He was the protector, the business brain, the backbone of the Asghedom family empire. Marathon. Before Nipsey became the global symbol of hustle and independence, Sam was already grinding in the shadows, making sure the dream wasn't just a pretty idea, it was built to last. He and Nipsey co-founded the Marathon Clothing, a store that wasn't just about selling clothes, it was a statement. It screamed ownership, independence, and showed the world that black entrepreneurship could thrive right on the blocks that had been scarred by struggle for generations. While Nipsey gave the people wisdom and street knowledge through his music, Blacc Sam was the chess player, moving pieces behind the scenes. He locked down the business side, made sure deals were solid, and pushed investments way beyond just rap. They called him the silent force behind Marathon, and that's exactly what he was. He never wanted the spotlight, never needed attention. What he wanted was for Nipsey to dream bigger and keep those dreams alive. Nipsey could move freely without drowning in paperwork, contracts, or deals, all because Blacc Sam had his back. Nipsey even admitted more than once that without his brother, legendary plays like the Proud to Pay campaign or buying up real estate in Crenshaw might have never happened. That's why, when it comes to Nip's legacy, Blacc Sam's voice holds serious weight. It's not just respect, it's law. Sam isn't just family. He's the gatekeeper of Nipsey's entire vision. Every partnership, every move, every connection had to pass through him because he was the one who truly knew Nip. He knew the ambition, the limits, who Nip wanted close, and who needed to stay far away. So when word spread that Sam no longer respected Snoop Dogg, the community didn't just hear gossip, they heard confirmation that something had snapped. If Sam distanced himself from someone, it was never by accident. It meant that a line had been crossed, a line you don't come back from. And here's the kicker. This supposed fallout wasn't about ego or petty clout chasing. It was about loyalty, the one thing that runs deeper than money in LA street culture. What lit the fire was Snoop's decision to openly roll with someone Nipsey himself had kept at arm's length. That move wasn't just questionable, it was betrayal in the eyes of those closest to Nip. Which is why it stung even more, because Nipsey and Snoop had history. Snoop always called himself Nipsey's uncle. They rocked stages together, sat in interviews together, and shared real conversations off camera.
Man, that's my dear brother right there. Nipsey is he's a South Central legend. He was a businessman. He was a leader, a teacher, a father, an entrepreneur.
When Nipsey was murdered in 2019, Snoop was one of the loudest to cry out. He gave a heartfelt speech at Nip's funeral, talking about Nip's wisdom and presence, putting himself out there as more than just a peer, almost like a mentor. That moment felt raw, it felt real, and in the beginning, even Blacc Sam seemed to respect that bond.
You knew Nipsey Hussle personally, you knew he had nothing but love for every gang member from Southern California. I don't care.
Not long after Nipsey's funeral, Blacc Sam showed Snoop genuine love. He pulled up personally, handing him exclusive Marathon merch as a thank you. It was a real gesture, a sign that Snoop's words of respect for Nip hadn't gone unnoticed. For a moment, it looked like the bond between Snoop and Nipsey's family was strong. But that peace didn't last long, because soon after, Sam had to notice something. Snoop started popping up alongside none other than Big U. Now, Big U, real name Eugene Henley Jr., was no small figure. He was once Nipsey's manager and a powerful force in Los Angeles. But their relationship fell apart. Business clashes, clashing visions, and eventually things got ugly. Nipsey even dropped a diss track aimed at him after a violent dispute at Big U's shop spiraled so bad the cops had to get involved. And Big U's name only got darker over the years. Federal investigations painted him as running a mafia-style operation. Then came the bombshell. In early 2025, he was indicted under RICO on charges like extortion, fraud, and even murder. Authorities accused him of running a check-in system, a street tax where rappers had to pay respect, or else. Many called it straight-up extortion. Big U even doubled down by launching a podcast called Check In. And guess who pulled up as a guest? Snoop Dogg himself.
Yes, sir.
TV superstar, neighborhood star. Come on, man, you look good up here, man. I like the new setting.
That move cut deep because Nipsey had taken a hard stance against that culture. He reportedly stopped paying Big U for so-called protection, a bold move that some say added tension and might have played into the danger surrounding his death. So when fans saw Snoop smiling, taking pics, doing interviews, and basically treating Big U like family, it looked bad, real bad. To many, it felt like Snoop wasn't just hanging out, he was helping Big U boost his influence in the industry. And whether intentional or not, a lot of fans saw it as the ultimate slap in the face to Nipsey's memory, a betrayal that couldn't be ignored. The silence from Blacc Sam spoke louder than words. His refusal to co-sign Snoop's bond with Big U wasn't just awkward optics, it was straight-up betrayal in his eyes. And for Sam, who knew exactly why Nipsey kept that distance, this was a line that should have never been crossed. Sam's distrust of Big U wasn't casual. It ran deep and it ran personal. Even when Nipsey briefly tried to mend fences with Big U, Sam wasn't budging. The streets might have seen it as peace, but Sam made it clear he wasn't buying it. To him, Big U was never an ally, only a threat. One of the biggest reasons behind that, the tragic death of their childhood brother-in-arms, Stephen Fats Donaldson. Fats wasn't just a friend, he was family, part of Nip and Sam's circle since the grind began. But in 2017, tragedy struck. Fats was gunned down in a drive-by, and instantly, whispers spread through LA streets. Rumors pointed back at Big U. The chilling story? That Fats had checked Big U after hearing he was putting pressure on Nipsey. Just a week later, Fats was dead. Nothing was ever proven, but the timing and the circumstances painted a dark picture. For Blacc Sam, this was no coincidence. It planted a seed of suspicion that never left him. To Sam, Big U's presence wasn't just shady, it was poison, something that could only endanger Nipsey's vision and the family's empire.
Keep it straight for hustle. This is what I'm telling you. Don't come over here trying to then guess what? Go do something and come back. Go get cracking and come back.
And fans noticed too. Online forums, comment sections, even barbershop chatter. All connected the dots, debating whether there was more truth behind the rumors than anyone dared to admit publicly. So when Sam kept his stance icy cold toward Big U, supporters didn't see bitterness. They saw loyalty. Loyalty to Nipsey, and loyalty to the memory of Fats. Now picture being in Sam's shoes, watching history repeat itself, while people you trusted linked arms with the very man you've been warning about all along. Imagine this. You watched your brother fight tooth and nail to build his independence. You saw him handpick who was worthy to stand beside him. Then, after his death, someone who called himself family suddenly cozies up to the very man your brother cut off, and who the streets even whispered might have played a role in his downfall. That's not just a bad look. That's a slap in the face. It didn't matter that Snoop gave a moving eulogy. It didn't matter that he called Nipsey nephew and himself uncle. Words at a funeral don't prove loyalty. Actions after the casket closes do. And to Blacc Sam, Snoop's actions spoke volumes. This wasn't about music politics or rap alliances. It was way deeper. Nipsey had drawn the line in his lifetime, and Sam was determined to guard that line after his death. So when Snoop chose to cross it, Sam had no reason to keep showing him respect. That was the spark that started the silent fracture between Blacc Sam and Snoop Dogg. Sure, in the years after Nipsey's passing, Snoop kept Nipsey's name alive in interviews, tributes, and speeches, acting like their bond was unbreakable. But here's the thing, Blacc Sam barely acknowledged any of it. His absence from those public remembrances spoke louder than any words could. Fans noticed it too, because when someone stops recognizing another, especially someone once considered close, it usually means a deeper shift has taken place. And it didn't stop there. A string of high-profile moments showed Snoop on camera with Big U, smiling, vibing, even catching energy off Nipsey's music together. To many, those weren't just casual hangouts. They were statements, clear signals that Snoop had chosen his lane, and it wasn't the one Nipsey had drawn in the sand. social media blew up with reactions. People swore Snoop looked way more comfortable rolling with Big U than he ever did with the Marathon crew. Fans said it loud, Snoop was choosing sides. And to many, this was the clearest signal yet, that he valued his bond with Big U over honoring Nipsey's values. For Blacc Sam, that was a hard pill to swallow, because if Nipsey had drawn that line in his life, what did it mean for his memory now that Snoop crossed it? Sam had always made one thing clear. There was never any room for disrespect when it came to his brother's legacy. Nipsey wasn't just a rapper, he was a visionary. He warned about the dangers of aligning with the wrong people, how fame could cloud loyalty, and why ownership was the only way to stay free from manipulation. His decision to distance himself from Big U wasn't petty, it was strategic. He saw the long-term damage that partnership could bring, and he wasn't about to gamble his empire on shaky loyalty. He even spoke it in his music, most famously in his diss track, You Don't Got a Clue. Nipsey rapped, I built this on my own, and everybody know it's true. Still dudes act like they supposed to have control of what I do. Those words cut deep, and no one understood that conviction better than Blacc Sam. So even after Nipsey's death, Sam lived by that same code. At the Marathon Burger grand opening, a celebration of Nipsey's dream of community-first business, things suddenly turned tense. According to viral clips and eyewitness accounts, Sam got into a heated confrontation with Rockstar 2800, a member of the West Boulevard Crips. Reports say Rockstar walked into the event like he belonged, but Sam wasted no time making it crystal clear he wasn't welcome there. And it wasn't just some back-and-forth argument. Clips online showed the tension loud and clear. Sam stepping up with firm, no-nonsense energy, defending the space like a guardian of Nipsey's vision. For the crowd watching, it was proof that Sam would put himself on the front line before letting anyone disrespect what Nipsey built. One social media post summed it all up perfectly. Blacc Sam really lost his brother. You think he playing with anybody? Leave that man alone and let him run his business. Continue his brother's legacy. Makes me sad he had to deal with this on such a big day. He didn't need that negative energy. Nothing but respect for standing up for his brother and continuing his legacy. On Reddit's r/CaliBanging, users broke it down even further. Rockstar 2800, West BLVD Crips, pressed and kicked out of the Marathon Burger grand opening by Blacc Sam and Boss Hogg from the 60s. Rockstar and Nip were cool, but Rockstar's been linked with Whack 100, and we all know the kind of rumors he's been spreading about Nip. Another user added some street flavor to the story. Every time I see Blacc Sam, he's standing on business. Rockstar thought he was about to slide in. Blacc Sam hit him with a, pardon my back. Sam, a real one. Fans didn't see this as just a simple security scuffle. They saw it as a statement. Sam was drawing a symbolic line, making it clear the Marathon legacy wasn't up for negotiation, and it wasn't going to be tied to people Nipsey had already distanced himself from. Sam was acting exactly like what the community already knew him to be, a guardian, defensive, protective, and unapologetically firm in holding down his brother's vision. So when Snoop chose to stand next to Big U, people saw it as choosing a side in the middle of all this. On one hand, Blacc Sam represented independence, community-based business, and the spirit Nipsey built the Marathon on. On the other, Big U symbolized old-school street politics, influence, and fear-driven power. Fans said Snoop tilted toward the latter, and that choice sparked the fire between him and Blacc Sam. And here's where it gets even heavier. Because Snoop's name has already been tied to controversy before, his legacy in hip-hop is stamped in history, but when it comes to Tupac, Death Row, and Suge Knight, his stories have always raised eyebrows. For years, fans have noticed a pattern. Snoop being accused of switching sides or tweaking his stories to fit the moment. A lot of people call it rewriting history. His accounts of Tupac, especially, get brought up again and again. In one interview, he swore he and Pac had reconciled before Pac's death, but in other versions, the details shifted, leaving fans wondering, was Snoop being genuine, or was he controlling the narrative? Even members of Pac's own crew weren't having it. Napoleon from the Outlaws once blasted Snoop, saying, they act like they praising Pac, but they're putting him down.
Pac, for a fact, he wasn't really, he had a lot of, like, he used to send us pictures, and his pictures on the internet when he was taking pictures.
In his eyes, Snoop was throwing slick shade, using subtle ways to dim Pac's light while still trying to benefit from his legacy. And then comes Suge Knight. Suge has blasted Snoop in public more than once, accusing him of being an informant and even questioning his whereabouts the night Tupac was gunned down in Las Vegas. Suge claimed Snoop had inside information, even a play-by-play like he was tuned into the whole thing, but somehow wasn't with Pac's crew when it all went down. Years later, Suge doubled down, accusing Snoop of trying to protect Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, the man now charged in Pac's murder, because Keefe was talking too much. Snoop, of course, brushed all of this off, calling Suge's words nothing more than bitterness, especially after Snoop swooped in and took control of Death Row Records. But here's the thing. The inconsistencies don't stop there. Snoop has told plenty of Pac stories that just don't line up when you check the facts. One of his most famous tales? That Tupac was the first person to ever hand him a blunt. Sounds cool, right? But the timeline doesn't make sense. By the time Snoop even met Pac, he was 21 and already deep in LA's weed culture. Cameron Diaz, who went to high school with Snoop, even admitted she used to buy weed off him as a teenager. So how could Pac have been the one to introduce Snoop to blunts? Then there's Snoop's claim that he personally urged Suge Knight to bail Pac out of prison, warning that Pac's life was in danger behind bars. But according to Napoleon from the Outlaws, who visited Pac regularly inside, that was flat out false. Napoleon said Pac was respected in prison, making friends, taking flicks, and never once crying about being unsafe. Sure, Pac wanted out. Who wouldn't? But it wasn't because of Snoop. And let's not forget the infamous MTV Video Music Awards in 1996. Snoop later painted Pac's run-in with Nas as if it was a near bloodbath. Nas rolling deep with 100 Queens shooters, Pac going off wild, and Nas mercifully letting them live. Dramatic? Absolutely. True? Not so much. Napoleon, who was actually there, said Pac and Nas had a respectful talk, squashed the beef, and Pac even promised to take Nas's name out of future diss tracks once he got back to LA. Sadly, he never lived to keep that promise. And here's the kicker. Napoleon doesn't even remember Snoop being there. Nas himself later confirmed Snoop's version was way off. So when you put all this together, Suge's accusations, Pac's crew calling him out, and Snoop's shaky retellings, it paints a messy picture. Fans say Snoop has a habit of reshaping the past. Sometimes it feels like exaggeration, other times like straight-up damage control. And now, when you stack that history against his cozy alliance with Big U, people can't ignore the pattern, bending loyalty, rewriting narratives, and doing whatever it takes to protect his image, even if it means shaking trust with the very legacies he claims to honor. For Blacc Sam, this was never just rap drama. It was about protecting a legacy. The foundation Nipsey built wasn't only about business. It was loyalty, independence, and uplifting the community. That's why Nipsey quietly distanced himself from Big U years before his death, making it clear he wanted no part of that chapter. So to see Snoop, the same man who once called Nipsey his nephew, openly embrace the opposite path, to Sam, that felt like a fracture of Nip's memory itself. And here's the thing. Blacc Sam was never one to rant online or call people out in interviews. His strength has always been letting actions speak louder than words. That's why his silence towards Snoop carried such heavy meaning. Behind the scenes, Sam has handled everything Nip left behind. From expanding marathon clothing, to locking down real estate investments Nip once dreamed of, to making sure Nipsey's kids and family stayed financially secure. He's also kept Nipsey's mission alive in Crenshaw, pushing new community ventures forward and making sure the movement didn't stop with Nip's death. But one thing we don't see anymore? Any collaboration with Snoop. The bond that once looked solid has faded into distance. Instead of brotherhood, there's silence. Instead of joint appearances, there are separate lanes. Fans once hoped Snoop would stand alongside the Asghedom family to continue Nipsey's vision, but now it's clear Sam prefers to walk that road without him. Because for Blacc Sam, loyalty to Nipsey's vision will always come before any celebrity alliance, no matter how iconic the figure may be. And that's the end of this deep dive. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment with your thoughts, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. See you on the next one.